ਪਿਛਲੇ 10 ਸਾਲਾਂ ਵਿੱਚ ਕਰਜ਼ਾ, ਮਾਰਗੇਜ, ਕ੍ਰੈਡਿਟ ਕਾਰਡ ਜਾਂ ਸਟੋਰ ਕਾਰਡ ਤਾਂ ਹਜ਼ਾਰਾਂ ਪਾਉਂਡ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਹੱਕ ਵਿੱਚ ਹੋ ਸਕਦੇ ਹਨ। ਬੈਂਕਾਂ ਨੇ ਲੱਖਾਂ ਯੂਕੇ ਵਾਸੀਆਂ ਨੂੰ ਕਰੋੜਾਂ ਦੇ ਪੀਪੀਆਈ ਗਲਤ ਵੇਚੇ ਹਨ। ਜੇ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਸੈਲਫ ਐਮਪਲੋਇਡ ਸੀ, ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਪੀਪੀਆਈ ਦੀ ਲੋੜ ਨਹੀਂ ਸੀ ਜਾਂ ਪਤਾ ਹੀ ਨਹੀਂ ਸੀ ਕਿ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਕੋਲ ਪੀਪੀਆਈ ਹੈ, ਤਾਂ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਭਰੇ ਹੋਏ ਸਾਰੇ ਪ੍ਰੀਮੀਅਮ ਵਾਪਸ ਕਲੇਮ ਕਰ ਸਕਦੇ ਹੋ। ਕਲੇਮ ਲਈ ਸਮਾਂ ਸੀਮਾ ਲਾਗੂ ਹੈ, ਇਸ ਲਈ ਛੇਤੀ ਸੰਪਰਕ ਕਰੋ 080021552215 ਤੇ ਜਾਂ ਆਨਲਾਈਨ ਆਪਣਾ ਹੱਕ ਲਾਓ। GIC ਪੀਪੀਆਈ ਨੂੰ ਹੁਣੇ ਕਾਲ ਕਰੋ।
From the collision. Claim today.
Too much hassle. I'll get nothing. And there'll be costs.
Call Claim today. They'll visit you at home. There's no costs. And you keep 100% of the compensation.
I'll give it a go.
CTS 0800 29 829. Call CTS now or visit claimtoday.com.
Waheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Waheguru Ji Ki Fateh. Good evening and welcome to this programme. My name is Jasvir Singh and I will be the chair of a panel discussion where we will be discussing the British Sikh report, which is a report coming out in May 2013, which will be looking at the wants and needs of the British Sikh community at large. There are various issues which form part of this report, and we will be exploring those issues during the course of this particular programme. To the left, we have Philip Rosenberg, who is the director of the Faiths Forum for London. Next to him is Varinder Singh. He is the director of the Turban campaign. To my right is Amanteer Singh, who is a city-based professional and a member of the British Sikh report team. And to his right is Jaspreet Bassi, a civil servant in Whitehall and also a member of the British Sikh report team. Gentlemen, Waheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Waheguru Ji Ki Fateh. On the 11th of December of this year, the census report, the census results were released. And on the same day, we had, I believe it was Jitendra Singh Buller, who was the first Sikh guardsman of the Household Cavalry to guard Buckingham Palace whilst wearing a turban. Both of those events took place on the same day, and both of those events are memorable events for the Sikh community in Britain. Mr. Buller became the cover boy, let's say, and the de facto face of a changing face of Britain. The idea that the census has shown that Britain is a changing nation, that it is becoming increasingly diverse, and also the fact that it needs to represent its constituent parts. The census results themselves were a breakdown of the ethnic and religious backgrounds of the people of England and Wales in particular. In respect of England, I believe 420,000 Sikhs were recorded as living in England in England and Wales, I should say, on the date of the 27th of March 2011. In respect of the Northern Irish community of Sikhs, it's estimated that there are 200 Sikhs in Northern Ireland, and there are also an estimated 8,000 Sikhs in Scotland. We know the figures. What we don't know is what those members of the Sikh community want and need. What are their desires as British Sikhs? What are their concerns on a daily basis? Those are issues which are necessary for us as a community to grapple, but also issues which need to be looked at and dealt with from a statistical manner so that we can then approach the various communities who need to deal with those issues. Jaspreet, if I could ask you first to talk about the aims and objectives of the British Sikh report.
Absolutely. Thank you very much, Jasvir. Essentially, I could split it into three distinct points. First being, as you've raised, is to identify the needs and wants of the community in Britain in the current state. So, as you know, over the generations, the community has evolved. I'm a third generation Sikh, and my parents' wants and needs are totally different from what I want. But this is a kind of a snapshot of all three generations. The second point is we would like the report to be produced on an annual basis and it will form the foundation to have dialogue with senior community leaders, political leaders, also local government leaders, or any other community stakeholder. And the third aspect is I want the report to be truly inspiring. So obviously there will be aspects of the report which will be highlighted where there's some needs of the community, where some Sikhs can actually cater for those needs. So that's basically in a nutshell 3 kind of distinct areas of the report.
I see. Amanteer, I believe that you were involved in helping put together the questionnaire for that report. Yep. The questionnaire is live at the moment, and people can access that on www.britishsikhreport.org. Yep. Tell us more about what went into the formation of the questionnaire and why it has been put together in the way that it has.
Okay, why basically, we saw this need and want, and we saw a gap that the Sikh community wasn't fully represented. And we saw other communities such as the Jewish and the Hindu community being fully represented with their own manifestos and their own censuses that they were doing in their own communities. So this BSR initiative is a totally independent initiative. It's formed by a collective of 15, but not limited to those people. They're city-based people, people from different backgrounds, some from academia, some from professional backgrounds, some from social sector and so forth. And we saw the need, especially this year, to quickly get the report out, or the questionnaire out, because of the census results coming out next year. And basically the formulation of the questions were debated over a matter of months, and we picked out the core things that we needed to cover. So that the topics that you'll see in the questionnaire, if you go to the website and complete it, about arts and culture, about identity, about sports, and a whole variety of key issues that we thought important.
Thank you, Amanteer. I should mention that there are a number of partners with the British Sikh report. The partners include the City Sikhs Network, the Sikh Channel themselves, there is the UK Punjab Heritage Association, and there is also the Turban campaign, for which you are the director. Now, on behalf of the Turban campaign, could you explain why you felt it was necessary to become a partner organisation and what you hope to achieve from this?
Waheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Waheguru Ji Ki Fateh. Firstly, thank you for inviting me to be involved in your discussion today. I'm speaking on behalf of the Turban campaign, which is a not-for-profit voluntary organisation which supports small-scale projects and campaigns to help build a more inclusive and more stronger community. In all frankness, when we first came across the project, we had a sigh of relief, actually, that someone had taken the initiative to conduct this research. We saw immediate value in this research being conducted. For once, we'll be able to have not only quantitative but also qualitative research to some level, which can help us better understand our communities, and from there have an indication of how to resource projects which can cater for the needs of our community. And also, I think to an extent and from a practical perspective, it allows organizations such as ours to actually be able to reference to a document, reference to a reference-worthy document when we're applying for bids or grants or trying to work with other community stakeholders. One of the problems that we face is that when we're trying to justify the case for our work and what we're trying to do, many stakeholders often ask, well, where's the statistics behind what you're saying, and where's the evidence for the need for what you're trying to do? So from that perspective, I think this initiative is one which is definitely worth supporting, and we're certainly putting our full weight behind this initiative.
Thank you. Philip, you work with interfaith organisations. You yourself are the director of the Faith Forum for London. What would you say from an interfaith perspective is important about a document such as the British Sikh report?
Sure, well, I'm really excited about this report, and thank you very much for having me here. I'm excited about the report because as an organisation that wants to work productively with the Sikh community, it's really important for us to understand the needs, but also the strengths of that community and working out how we can get the best value out of that relationship. You know, we work on issues around emergency planning, around inclusion of people, of disabled people, around issues of youth unemployment, and other issues as well. And for us, it's important to work out where those issues can help the Sikh community and where actually we can be helped by the experience and the strength that's already within that community. I think it's fair to say that in a lot of places faith communities are not well understood, and perhaps fair to say also that among those communities the Dharmic faiths are particularly poorly understood, whether it's Sikhism, Hinduism, Buddhism or Jainism. I think that there's a disproportionate amount of knowledge, a lack of knowledge, I should say, about those communities. And I think it's really important that we get those figures out there. You know, we've seen, I think, a 14% growth in the community over the last decade, and we want to know a few things really. We know a bit about values. You can learn that from textbooks and from engagement with Sikh individuals, whether that's a seva, miripiri, whether it's a stress on equality, whether it's the spirituality that comes with the religion, but also what is happening day to day. What's the reality of Sikhs as we go about? What are they concerned about? What they need? What are they offering? What are they contributing? And celebrating and bringing all that together and working out how we can work together for the common good.
The problem is the fact that having the British Sikh Report as a strategic document will assist not just the Sikh community to know themselves, but also assist local government, central government in respect of what they can do for the Sikh community. Now, Jaspreet, you work as a civil servant in Whitehall. You have personal experience of central government and the way that it operates. What insight could you give as to how such a strategic document may benefit the Sikh community from a central government and even a local government perspective?
Thank you very much. I think that's a really, really key question, because gone are the days of plenty. We're in the era of austerity. And, you know, I was today listening to Eric Pickles and his take on local government. And so obviously over the next number of years, well, for at least the next 4 or 5 years, there is going to be major resource constraints for local government, central government. Everyone's tightening their pockets. For that reason alone, having this document, actually having evidence, not anecdotal information, actual evidence of what the Sikh community needs and wants are, will help a central government who sets the overall government policy, local government who actually implement the policy, and also other key stakeholders within the community. So I think, you know, it's all about now making the most out of the resources that you have got and making them very targeted. So it needs to be results orientated. So if you have evidence, for example, in terms of, I don't know, discrimination, that in certain areas or certain social spheres that certain people are being discriminated in, you can actually target your resources to that area. Whereas, you know, if you've got anecdotal information, there's a very scattergun approach. So I think it's really, really pivotal.
I see. And Amanteer, coming from a more corporate background, again, do you see that this strategic document will assist in any way? And if so, how?
So we've covered how it assists on in the external kind of environment. For me, I think it would also assist on within our own community. So I think all of us kind of integrating and contributing to this questionnaire would contribute to the kind of the unity within our own kind of community as well. Get our parents involved. So this year is going to, because of the limitations and the resources that we had available, the questionnaire has only been made available in English and online. So that kind of almost eliminates maybe the Punjabi-speaking community that we have, or maybe the older generation. So we're looking to maybe our own kind of age group to maybe push this out to their parents, involve their parents and kind of get that kind of community feeling going and contribute their views, because their views do matter. I think it's an amazing opportunity and just needs to be brought forward, and I think it will get stronger throughout the years. As soon as we get collaboration with other groups and cooperation from other environments, and the communication just has to be constant. We need to dialogue, we need to consult all kinds of communities and all kinds of groups within the Sikh environment as well.
You talk about all sorts of different groups. What groups do you have in particular in mind?
So just other groups that are doing a lot of seva in the Sikh community. So we're talking about the Sikh channel, the radio stations, media stations, a newspaper and so forth. And even individuals, communities, gurdwara. The point with the kind of the limitations of the resources that we had this year is because we had to release the report quite quickly, and most of the effort was into kind of the formulation of the questions and making it sure that it wasn't too long for people to complete. So we had a limitation of maybe 10 minutes for people to complete the questionnaire. And we also wanted to onboard, because it's the first year of the initiative, we're trying to onboard partners, so we didn't get to strategically target our kind of advertising. So some of this has come out of the blue to some people, and we apologise for that, because we just wanted to get this out there, and hopefully it will get stronger in the future years. And we want to involve everyone, because this is our seva. We're not getting paid for it, or we're not looking for any kind of plaudits for it. We want people to get involved, and we want to get stronger for the Sikh community, and then for dialogues across communities, and obviously, as Jaspreet mentioned, funding and doing things within the community to improve things.
So this is effectively a community initiative, but you want to ensure that there is ownership from the Sikh community as a whole, that it isn't just one particular team that's trying to do this, although there is a team behind the report. The basis of it is to reflect the Sikh community in Britain accurately. Is that correct?
Yeah, exactly. I call it accountability and almost distributed leadership, really. We all need to get involved. All of us can make a change, and we just need to get beyond that apathy level, which has kind of developed over the years and maybe decades.
And Jasper, you agree with that?
Absolutely. I think, the last point I made in my introduction was about inspiration and inspiring. So this is not, a closed group where we want, the information for ourselves and for our own purpose. It's actually for the whole Sikh community. Not just for the Sikh community, for the community at large as well, because we're British, we're part of society, we've made a major contribution to British society, and we want to give back to society as well. So I think, it's not an exclusive group, it's open to everyone.
And as I understand it, once the report has been finalised, that will be available for free for anyone from the internet, or is that correct?
Absolutely correct. This is going to be available to anyone who wants to access this, even if you're based in India and you want to do some comparative study over in India, you will be able to access it over the net. So that's absolutely our full intention.
Now, Varinder, you have worked within the public sector as a student. You've been involved quite actively within the National Union for Students and so on and so forth. Looking at this from a public sector perspective, let's say, how do you see that such a document would assist the community?
Well, I'm quite interested in seeing the results of when the report is published. I think there's been a long-standing acknowledgement that, for example, in the student movement, there is a lack of representation for Sikh students. Now that's common knowledge, yet we don't have the facts or the figures to prove it. So I think from that perspective it sheds a light on a lot of the assumptions that are out there, and might even shed light on some of the myths out there as well. So I'm very keen to find out, what do our young Sikh community identify with the most? How do they perceive our institutions, particularly the Gurdwara? What is the relationship between the individual and the institutions that we have in our community at the moment, whether it be a charitable organization, or whether it be a Gurdwara, or whether it be some other sort of collective organization? I think there is going to be a lot of value in this document, and I said this in my introduction as well, and I say that because it will mean something different for each partner that's involved. From a very selfish perspective, I'll have a better understanding of how to engage with the Sikh community. I'll have a better understanding of what they require. Whereas an academic might see this from a different perspective and be able to understand how British society works and functions as a whole, and what is the role of the Sikh community within that. So depending on who the stakeholder is, and of course wider society who might get their hands on this report, it could add values in many different perspectives and spheres as well. So I think that's what we need to acknowledge, and that's why it's important that everyone from our community takes the time out to complete this questionnaire to the best of their ability, so that year on year we can build on this and actually start focusing in on different areas.
Now, Philip, one thing that you are personally involved in is interfaith work. As can be seen, the information that the British Sikh report will disclose will be available to everyone. How do you feel that the information and the report may benefit engagement with other communities as well as any prospective interfaith work in the future?
Sure, I think that it's really positive because it will, first of all, raise Sikh concerns and challenges and successes on the agenda in a much higher way, in a much more coherent way. So that's the first thing. It will say, the Sikhs are here, these are the things that they are interested and care about. And I think that for faith communities on the whole, they'll say, well, there are areas for partnership here. We share those concerns, we share these challenges, we maybe could learn a thing or two from the successes. And this report will allow them to see where that's true, who it's true of, to an extent, and where they might go about building those coalitions that will yield good for both their community, the Sikh community, and hopefully the good of the society as a whole.
I see. Now, from what I understand, there are a number of sections to the British Sikh report. I believe there are between 10 to 12 different sections which look at different issues affecting the Sikh community. One of them is a question of identity. That's a question not just of identity as British, but also as a Sikh. Could you just shed a bit of light very briefly on how that question explores those particular issues?
Sure, thank you. I think it's a really important question because at an individual level, some people may have different, descriptions of what is a Sikh, what is the characterizations of a Sikh. I consider myself to be a Sikh, but in the traditional sense, I don't. From appearance, I don't appear to be a Sikh. So, and I think it's really important to find out, what do people classify as a Sikh at an individual level. And it'd be really interesting, once we find out the results and in the report, there is, is there any disparities with different people? And what I would also like to add is, in terms of the survey, the questionnaire itself, it's totally anonymous. But what it does ask is questions around location, where are you from, your age. And we could actually see how identity has changed through the generations. Maybe, a first generation Sikh would, say a Sikh would be, for example, Amritdhari, and that's it. Maybe, a third generation Sikh would have a different view on the whole. But I think identity, we've never really had that discussion in the community. I feel, that's my personal opinion, and I think it would be really valuable to open up that debate for us to have that discussion around that issue.
Now, you've spoken about people being able to discuss what their own perceptions are about who constitutes a Sikh. Amanteer, why do you feel that it's important for us to look at that particular issue? Is it important?
For me, I think it's one of the most important issues to start off with the British Sikh report, looking at identity. Who are we as individuals? As Sikhs, I personally feel we cause most of our issues within our own community, so kind of asking the question of identity would raise the issues of cohesion and unity and get to a kind of a central goal of what people think within our own community, what is a Sikh, because we tend to alienate people and we don't want to do that, because Sikh is all about inclusion, and we need to include everyone, and when we do that we can teach others about Sikhi as well, if we learn ourselves and include everyone.
Now, Philip, you come from a Jewish background, you're a practicing Jew. Have you seen that the question of identity has been important within the Jewish community, and do you feel that it's something that does need to be addressed by other communities, not just necessarily the Sikh community, but other communities?
Well, in the Jewish community, I think people think a lot about who is a Jew, that it's a big debate within sort of Jewish theology, and one that sort of doesn't interest anyone else, but interests Jews very much. I think for me about the Sikh community, particularly in the wider community, is thinking about visibility. That Sikhs are actually very visible in a sense, but actually poorly understood. And it struck me very much that one of the tragedies of some of the tragic responses to terrorist incidents around 9/11 and 7/7 was that some of the first Islamophobic attacks that happened after that happened against Sikhs, because even though Sikhs were entirely visible, they were misunderstood. Now, it would have been terrible had the attacks been directed at Muslims, because they were innocent as well. But it shows you that visibility in dress hasn't necessarily guaranteed understanding. And I think that this sort of initiative is a good way of trying to push forward on that.
Now, Varinder, you've heard what Philip's had to say about mistaken identity. There was also the issue, as I mentioned earlier, as to Sikhs becoming more, perhaps, apparent, more visible, and this idea of a British Sikh identity becoming a bit more crystallised than it has perhaps been for the older generations. What are your views in respect of that?
I think we are seeing an increasing number of people from our community, especially the younger generations, take a look at their own identity and trying to self-discover essentially what are their roots, where do they come from, and what are the central beliefs that resonate with them. And we have to put this in the grand context of things, how our communities have migrated from not only India but also East Africa and other parts of the world in the past 100 or so years. And we also need to acknowledge the changing face of our own communities and how we self-identify into other different categories. I mean, in wider British society, we're seeing acceptance of concepts like being gender neutral, for example. And these are terms which we cannot shy away from or reject. We must understand that British society is evolving, and we all have a different way of identifying ourselves, our beliefs, and kind of essentially giving ourselves a label. I think the British Sikh report in this context does a good job of covering and providing enough options for people to self-identify. Of course, there's always room for improvement to take into consideration other factors of life and how we would self-identify. But for the most part, I think for the Sikh community, I think there are sufficient options, to essentially define whether you see yourself as a English Sikh, a Welsh Sikh, or a Scottish Sikh, and so forth. And from that, you really get a sense of not necessarily the mindset of what the community is thinking, but also how we've integrated in British society.
Now, integration is a good point, but also something that Philip has just raised, which is visibility of Sikhs. Now, as I've mentioned, there was Jatinder Pal Singh Bulla, who was on the cover of many newspapers on the day that the census information was released, and certainly on the day after, he became the de facto cover boy for the census results. That's one way of describing it, I would say. What would you say about the visibility of Sikhs within British media? I know that's another matter that has been covered within one of the sections of the report. Why is it important to look at the visibility of Sikhs within mainstream British media?
As being an important community within the British community, I think having visibility in the mainstream media is quite essential, because one, it helps break down barriers, and there may be a lot of misunderstanding out there in the larger community, and also to just show kind of the lighter side. People who are maybe religious, maybe have a funny side to them, maybe interested in the arts, culture. There's the Sikh community is so kind of wide. And it's quite encouraging to see so many artists, sportsmen, sportswomen. And I think I was really, pleased to see the newer generation, instead of being a doctor, dentist, and so on, taking these options at university, you know, these art courses, other different kind of courses. So I think it's really important to have that mainstream cover, because a lot of people, especially through the internet, use mainstream media outlets. You know, a lot of the mainstream media outlets have now got internet coverage, like BBC, iPlayer, and so on. So not having that coverage, I think it increases the chances of misunderstanding.
Now, you mentioned Sikhs and sports. Obviously, this year, 2012, has been an important year for Britain as a whole because of the London Olympics. Philip, you were involved in the opening ceremony, and one of the many extras who helped make Danny Boyle's dream come true, let's say, for the nation. One thing that I found quite heartwarming about that was the fact that there was a presence not just in the opening ceremony but also in the closing ceremony of British Sikhs, dancers of the dole drums. How important were the Olympics, do you feel, in showing a sense of a diverse country and a diverse Britain, which includes the British Sikh community?
Well, I think with these things, there was a huge opportunity, and the opportunity was grasped to show Britain in all its diversity. I mean, you had very obvious and visible Sikhs within that. I was in a section that was in the beginning of the Green and Pleasant Land sequence, where we were a football team, and in my football team there was a Sikh member who didn't wear a turban himself, but you know, there was a full participation across a range of different groups, and people who are looking to understand what is this Britishness, what does it mean to be British, something that people struggle with a lot, I think. Looked at the opening ceremony and said, in all its diversity, in all its magic, in all its resonance, this is us. And they didn't feel alienated by it, they felt included. And they felt included whether they were white British, whether they were a religious minority, an ethnic minority. I think that was a huge success of the opening ceremony, and indeed of the Olympics as a whole.
Now, Amanteer, are you hoping that the results will, the British Sikh report will end up with, I don't know, something like a Sikh family within EastEnders? Is that what you're trying to aim towards with that particular question?
Well, we usually have a Sikh walking in the background, don't we, in the market stalls. But I think one of the things is the lack of role models, and so media is obviously highly visible. For Sikhs, growing up, I really struggled to find a role model. I mean, one of the role models for me, I ran marathons, was for Singh. But I think if we get involved more in this media, the Jewish community do really well. I mean, most of the actors are Jewish, and that's plaudits to them. We should have something similar, not just for kind of in competitive comparisons, but for someone to be a role model for the new generation coming up, and for us budding professionals as well. I think it's really key for us. We lack role models in our area.
Now, as part of the Turban campaign, one of your aims has been to try to find role models and put them forward, as well as working with the media to ensure that there is, I guess, a fair representation of the Sikh community. Is that what you feel is necessary to ensure that Sikhs are represented fully in mainstream media?
I think it's very important to ensure that we have Sikhs actively involved in the media and portraying a positive image. I think that unfortunately there's just so many different negative elements in the media which highlight the negativities and the bad headlines, that it almost becomes a mission and an objective in itself to try and highlight the positives. And I think that's quite reflective of how society works. It's very easy to find differences, and very hard to sometimes highlight the positive elements of our communities. I think for the Sikh community, given our visible appearance, that we have to go the extra mile in some cases to ensure that our community is given all credit that is due for some of the wonderful work that they do. At all levels of British society, members of the Sikh community, members of the Sikh faith are playing a positive role in contributing to society, whether it be volunteering as a JP, whether it be through politics, whether it be through some of the unheard stuff, becoming teachers in schools and having a lasting effect on pupils. So I think that every opportunity that we come across, we ought to highlight the positives, and we ought to ensure that we maintain a presence within the media, because unfortunately, I feel at least that we don't have such a close relationship with the media as we ought to. And we can aspire to the Jewish community for how they've managed to gain presence within the media and build up that relationship. But I think it's a case of putting in the effort and the energy and acknowledging that this ought to be a priority on our agenda. And of course, I think the British Sikh report will highlight, is there actually a need to place more emphasis on building up that relationship with the media? Is there a need to try and push for more Sikh involvement in the media?
Now, Amanteer, we've talked about various issues already. One section which may be perhaps slightly controversial is that of gender discrimination. Now, Sikhi as a faith believes in equality, genders, across the ages, across races, religions, pretty much everything. Gender discrimination itself is a thorny subject. Why was it decided that it needed to be included? Were there any particular reasons?
Speaking from a personal perspective, this is a really challenging question. Coming from a Sikh background and thinking about these kind of questions, you sometimes shy away from them. And this is basically just life. You need to answer these questions. You need to discuss these things openly. And only through communication and cooperation and dialogue will you learn. So we are Sikhs, we're supposed to learn. And I think it's a really important question. And we have similar questions in the British Sikh report, which are kind of maybe on the kind of